Hey everyone, my name is REDRUP, this is the It's Not a Phase podcast, and on this episode I'm joined by Michael Swank, who is the vocalist for the pop-punk duo FReNDz. The band is a fairly new project, so we talk about how it came to be, their recently released debut EP It's a Secret, covering an Ashlee Simpson song, the recently announced Myka Relocate reunion, his other project Foxera, and loads more. But before we get into the chat, please consider taking a few seconds of your time to support the podcast if you enjoy it. You can hit subscribe or follow wherever you're checking this out so you don't miss out on future episodes. You can leave a review or a comment, give the podcast a follow on social media, and there's also a Patreon and a web store if you did want to go one step further. You can find links to everything that I've just mentioned in the description of this episode, or you can head on over to itsnotaphase.co.uk. Now that's out of the way, here's my chat with Michael Swank from the band FReNDz. What's up everybody, thank you for joining me on this episode of the It's Not a Phase podcast. I'm joined by Michael Swank from FReNDz. How you doing, man?
Doing good, man. Stoked to be on the show. How you doing?
Yeah, all good, man, all good. Really glad to have you on. We were just saying before we jumped on, you got a bit of heat wave over there. I've got one here, so we're just gonna sweat through this conversation, I think.
Dude, we're not even a minute in and I'm feeling it, but I'm hyped. Let's go.
Just like slowly during the conversation, just taking off layers of clothing, and we'll
every
be good.
question, I'll start like taking threads out.
Yeah, kind of like strip poker kind of thing. Every question, you have to take a piece of clothing off. Yeah,
dude.
Well, let's kind of get into it then. So, for people listening, iNTeRNeT is like the latest project that you're involved in with Rossi. And I think you guys got together towards the end of 2022, so a fairly new project in the grand scheme of things. And your band name is very literal to how it started, right? So for the listeners and viewers, can you kind of just explain how it started? Because I guess technically for like the first couple of years whilst it was in its fruition, you weren't even in the picture, right?
True. Yeah. So the story is that Ross was working on the business side of things. He was running a dance label. So he was doing that for a long time. He was living in the US. And around 2020, he had to go renew his work visa. So he went back to the UK where he's from to renew his work visa. And we all know what happened in 2020. The whole world shuts down.
Just a small thing. Yeah.
Yeah. He was supposed to be there for like a couple days and ended up getting stuck there for like, I think over a year or something like that.
No.
So he, luckily he's from there and he has like family. So he stayed with, I think he stayed with his dad, or he stayed with family. He literally had like no clothes with him or anything, and like nothing to do. So he had nothing but time. And ended up finding one of his old guitars at their house. And so he was just like, well, I got nothing to do, so I guess I'm just gonna like write songs and just like see how this makes me feel. Like, he grew up in like the punk space and all that. So started writing songs. He always says like the first one was like kind of like, well, at least I wasted some time. Like it got me through the day, Then the next day he showed up again, wrote another song. He's like, this is definitely getting better. Like I'm having a good time doing this. And then by day 3, he was like, okay, like I'm in. There's something special here. Like I have to just go with this. And through the course of the pandemic, he wrote like by the time he came to me a couple of years later, he had like 60 songs done or something like that. Like something crazy. He's just like, the dude has work ethic like no other. It's nuts. Like so he was just like writing songs, and like he just kind of decided like to transition, I guess, slowly move out of dance and like start to do the rock thing and like give it another go at being in a band. He grew up being in bands, but like, that was kind of it. And now like, he's like, now's the time. Like I got to just do this. And he, with all the songs, wanted to find the right front person and was scrolling through TikTok and the internet and all that stuff for a long time, trying to find people that could be the face of the band, that could be like the singer, the guy that delivers his songs. And, around 2021 was when I started getting on TikTok, and I just decided like, this is obviously like such a huge driver for music. I got on the game late, but like you know, like I feel like in the rock space, like there wasn't a ton of people really like going all in on TikTok at the time.
Yeah.
At least I thought, you know. So I decided to figure out how that worked, and I started posting content, and I started building a little bit of a following over there. And I guess our timing aligned because at some point I just popped up on his timeline, and he was like, I think this is the guy.
Yeah.
And so the algorithms kind of brought us together, which is really interesting. He then sent me a DM. He had no idea who I was. He just saw me on the internet. Like he didn't know that I had any like history in bands or anything like that, really. Right. I don't think. So yeah, he DMs me on Instagram. And the funniest part, the craziest part about all this and how this all aligned, like, was that prior to this, I was actually making dance music, just like a bunch of bass stuff. And so I was familiar with his label. So right. I didn't know who he was, but I knew who he was associated with. And I saw we had mutuals and all this stuff. So, you know, he followed me, and I noticed the username, and I was like, oh, cool. Maybe he's going to like ask me to be on some like tracks or something. Like,
yeah.
He's going to like set me up with some artists. Like, I'd be down with that, because I really like dance music, and I'm trying to get more singing stuff going. So he hits me up in the DMs, and he's like, hey man, like, I just wanted to, you know, he was like, I want to hop on a Zoom with you. I wanted to talk over some ideas if you're down to like go over some stuff, like, you know, just about music. And I was like, yeah, for sure. Like, let's hop on Zoom. And then I got on Zoom. This is like December 2022 or like late November or something like that. And he gave me the whole spiel. He was like, I've written a bunch of songs. I just don't have a singer. And like, I want to give this a go. And I think you're the guy. Can I show you some songs? I was like, yeah, sure. So he showed me a couple songs, and I was like, these are really good, man. These are dope. Like, it's crazy. Like, all this stuff is just ready to go.
Yeah.
So I basically told him, like, can I have a day or two to think about it? And like, I'll come back to you. And he was like, yeah. He's like, if you're interested, like, I'm like, no joke, I will buy plane tickets to Austin, and we will hang out, and we'll start recording stuff like,
whoa.
Yeah. Like that. It was that quick.
He was very keen. Yeah.
Very keen. He's like all in, dude. And yeah, within 2 days I was like listening to the songs, and I was like, man, this just feels like too cool, like too good to be true. Like it feels, everything felt right. And like also like me and him on that Zoom, like we got along with, like we knew each other like for years, dude. Like the chemistry like felt like it was there. And so I just had a really good gut feeling about that. And I was like, dude, I think I'm in, man. Like, let's do it. And he was like, all right, I'm coming to Austin. And he literally came to Austin within like a week. And this room that I'm in right now, he stayed in here. I picked him up from the airport. We like shot the shit. And like, I think the same day we started recording the first EP, It's a Secret. We did all the demos for that and 2 other songs, all in a week. And we just had the best time. We had a camera. We documented the entire thing on like this old VHS camera, like, and it was just one of those things where like by day one we both knew, we were like, this is it. This is really special. Like, we need to like get it going. And yeah, since then we've just been nonstop, just hitting it, just going. So it's been a really crazy ride. And like, yeah, that's also where the name Internet Friends came from. It's like we literally we met on the internet. Like, we would not be here today if we weren't posting stuff, scrolling. Like, we live on 2 sides of the planet. He lives in Australia and I live in Texas, and we're making it work. Like, it's just a really cool and crazy time to be making music, man.
Yeah, that's insane, man. Like, I mean, if anyone hears that from like an outside perspective, like just think about it. Like, you met someone online, within a week or 2, you decided to fly halfway across the world.
Yeah.
And then stay in their bedroom to make it music for a few days. Like, it's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. It's a really crazy thing to think about. People are always like, well, how did you know like Ross wasn't a serial killer and vice versa?
Yeah.
It's just like, we took the chance. I mean, obviously like we definitely vetted each other, you know, like we wanted to make sure like, you know, like obviously if you're going to do something like that, you really need to take the time to like check it out, make sure it all checks out, like be careful. But in this case, it really worked out. And like, it was just one of those things where I had the feeling, and I know he had the feeling, we talk about this all the time, like the worst that we felt could have happened was it would have been awkward. it would have been a waste of a week, and then that would have been it. But it
Yeah.
didn't turn out like that. It turned out to be a really good thing. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
And it's crazy to think as well, isn't it? Like, obviously, it goes without saying that the pandemic was horrible for so many people for so many different reasons. But I guess if you look at it that way, like, if you look at kind of like the positives of it, if it wasn't for the pandemic, then maybe you wouldn't have gone on to TikTok. He wouldn't have been stuck in the UK to make the songs, and then Internet
Yeah.
Friends may not have ever existed in any shape or form.
It's true. It's really true. Yeah, it's really crazy. I think the pandemic forced a lot of us to adjust, and like it changed the scope of music, honestly. Like, everything had to be online. So like, music promotion changed entirely. It's never gone back to the way it was before. Like, it's so internet driven now. And yeah, it's just really crazy to think about like how everything played out,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you were saying as well, like, obviously you come from a background of like post-hardcore and metalcore, and obviously he was on like the business side and like EDM. So I guess as well from an outside perspective, it kind of seems like an unexpected pairing in that sense as well. But as you say, like he had backgrounds in his earlier years of being in bands.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really cool how that worked out. And it's really funny too for me because I grew up as a pop punk fan, like big time. I was like real big into it. But after like 2010 or so, 2009, like I really wasn't that big into the genre. And, but the songs that he showed me that he had written kind of took me back to how I felt when I was growing up. And it kind of lit that fire for me again, which is a really cool thing. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then you put out your debut EP a few weeks ago called It's a Secret. Now it's had like a few weeks to kind of sit with fans and kind of, start, making its impression on the scene. How do you feel it's kind of gone down with people?
I think it's been very well received. Like, I'm really excited. It was one of those things where we both came out of the studio. I mean, the first week we had it written, like he had written the songs, like everything, like lyrics, everything, melodies, everything, but there was no singer on them. So it was like literally just a piano. Like there was like piano, like notes over like a song. So like you can hear it, but you can't really hear it until you hear someone deliver that. So, I heard the songs and I was like, these are dope. Like I hear the idea, but then once we had the final versions with like my voice on it, we both kind of were like, oh wait, because he like thought his original thought with the EP was like, these are songs that don't fit on any of the albums or like other things I've written. They're just like I think he used the term like these are B-sides,
Right.
And like so like we recorded them and I was like, dude, these don't feel like B-sides, man. These feel like this feels like crazy. Like this feels like something I'm scared to follow up.
If they're B-sides, I don't want to. I can't even imagine what the A-sides are like.
It's crazy. So and then also like once we went and like actually did the songs in the studio, like it took on another life for us. We were like, oh my god, like what have we done? Like this just feels crazy. Like we just kind of knew it was again something special, and we sat on the songs for so long and like the final versions of the songs for so long, and now that they're finally out, yeah, it just seems like people are like really latching onto them, and it's been really well received. People are, I don't know. It feels crazy that we've technically been. I mean, we've been posting on the internet since early last year, but we've only been a band with music out since March, and I feel like we've made a lot of progress, just like building a fan base that's like here for us. So it makes me really excited for like the next stuff we have coming up. Definitely, yeah.
Right. So you said you've sat on them for a while. Then why? How long did you sit on them, and why was that you had them on hold of them like for so long?
So we had the final versions done, like recorded since like last April. So like
wow, okay,
yeah. So we held on to them for a little less than a year before they came out, and the reason for that was like so that time like Ross will fly down to the U.S. and he'll stay for like a month, and like we'll go do whatever we need to do in that month. So like I'll leave Texas for that month too, and we'll go hang out in LA. Or like that specific trip, we did 2 weeks in Washington D.C. and then we did 2 weeks in LA. So we were getting all this stuff done. We got all the music done, whatever. Got a couple of like we did all these like stop motion lyric videos too, which took forever. It took a very long time to do, but like they came out really cool. We did a couple of those that first trip, but we held on to the songs for so long because we wanted to get music videos done. We had more lyric videos to do. We had promos to shoot. We had just so much of this package that we wanted to get right, that we had to wait, and we waited longer than we expected. We wanted to have the songs out at by the end of like 2023, but we just some personal things came up that we couldn't really get around, and so that kind of pushed things back a little bit, and we ended up doing all the music videos at the end of 2023. So he came back, we did all the videos, we got everything packaged up, we got everything ready to go, so that by the beginning of 2024 we were ready to go. And so that's kind of why we had sat on the songs for so long. But in that time, we like took that time to build the socials and to like kind of like have some sort of hype before we got some stuff out. So like by the time all the songs came out, we did have people that were ready for it, which is really cool,
Yeah. I think that's important, isn't it? Like, you don't want to, as much as you must have been like so like eager and impatient to just get them out there, because like they're just sitting there basically just for you and him. It is important to like just make sure that the timing is right, and like you say, build up a hype so that people want to listen to them. Otherwise, you risk potentially like just throwing them into the void and just hoping something sticks.
Yeah. I think for us it did work out. I think it's one of those things where like I think there's a fine line of like of too much time teasing and too much time promoting and building that stuff, and like just the right amount of time. But our journey happened the way that it did, and I wouldn't change anything. Like I really do feel good about how everything kind of progressed from like those first posts and like to like where we're at now. So yeah, for us it ended up working out.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And you produced them with Matt Squire as well, which must have been a great experience for you. What was it like working with him?
It was great. He's awesome. He it's just one of those things where like you never know how things are gonna go, especially like being a singer. Like I can like for me personally, like I guess I can kind of speak for Ross too, because I know Ross going into that session was really nervous. Like he was really anxious going in, and like he's like looked up to Matt for a long time, and like he also had never had experience like working with rock producers.
Right.
So like this is a brand new thing for him. So I've come from a world where I've done that, and I've worked with a bunch of people. So I came in and I was just like anxious about meeting a new person, but like that was like the extent of it,
Yeah.
But yeah, you can never guarantee that it's gonna be like, you can never foresee how it's gonna go as a singer, because like when you're in the booth, it's very I guess psychological. Like it's very like you have to be in the right headspace, or you're not going to get the best stuff you can. And I've been on both sides of that coin, where I have producers that I've worked with that like made me feel at home, and like I could just like mess around with them, like, and we're just like shooting jokes off back and forth between takes and all that stuff. And then I've also been in situations where I wasn't comfortable, and it was just one of those things where I was like, I just need to get this done and get out of here, and that's gonna be that, and you don't want that. And so, but like, so I'm saying all that to say that Matt in the studio was so much fun to work with. Like he was just like, he made me feel so calm, and like just like, again, it's like one of those people that he can talk to anybody. It felt like I knew him for a long time, like going into that. And for him to create that environment for me and Ross to feel comfortable and just like get the best stuff out, like I think that added to the final product, and I think you can really hear it.
Yeah.
So he's a legend. He's done some crazy records, and he's just a good dude. So we just like, we made a friend, and it was dope.
Yeah. And now you guys are like a part of his like roster, I guess, of stuff he's worked on, which is crazy as well.
That is also really crazy. Yeah. And he's like, it's crazy that he's like, he was like a part of that first wave of like big emo records, but he also did some really crazy pop records, like, Ariana Grande and like One Direction stuff, and
just a few small names,
just a couple small bands and stuff.
Yeah.
So. But it's just really cool to be able to say that we worked with that dude,
Yeah, definitely. But then you followed that pretty quickly with the like a stripped down version of the EP. But I think you had some of those like stripped down versions on like TikTok and stuff, and bands were like asking for them anyway. Yeah. Is that kind of like where because obviously like Ross does most of the songwriting. So is that kind of like where it's like a Internet Friends song starts, like kind of in an acoustic kind of trying to think of what the word is, like acoustic version, I guess.
Yeah, I think he's just one of those guys. Like I think he starts off like writing the songs in full as is, but like his true test to are like it always comes back to like, are the songs good enough? You know, like we want the songs in and of themselves to be like great, and I guess the test, like to test that, you know, if you break a song down to the chords and a vocal, there's nothing else with it, and it sounds and it still hits, you know, then we're confident enough to say that we feel that that's a great song. And so,
Right.
you know, we actually worked backwards with that, but like his mindset was, I want to do acoustic songs because I think the songs are good enough. I think they'll deliver that way, but it also gives me freedom to do different things that I wouldn't have done, you know, on the full band tracks. And like I feel like with I feel like I'm kind of a dynamic singer, but a lot of times, you know, in these rock tracks, like it's just you're just giving it like 100%, like your foot's on the gas all the way, you know. And with these acoustic songs, I can kind of be more vulnerable and like show that range that I have.
Right.
So it just shows a different side of the band, and our plan is to continue doing that as long as we can with like these EPs that we have coming up, and like yeah, it just feels cool. Like that's the other thing too, is like I've always loved doing acoustic stuff, but I've never had enough opportunities to do it.
Right.
So I'm appreciative that Ross is like, let's do acoustic stuff. Like I'm all in on that. So yeah.
You're more of a like a melody over lyrics guy as well, because I guess if you are,
100%.
then acoustic is kind of right up your alley, isn't it? So
Yep, I'm 100% that guy. When I listen to music, I don't ever latch onto lyrics. Like it's really rare for me to sit and listen to a song and like be like, what does this mean? I'm just like, that sounded really cool. That melody with that chord progression did something to me that like made me want to keep listening to the song. So that's kind of it for me. Like I've never been one with words, and you know, luckily Ross is like a good lyricist, and like, but he also thinks the same thing. He's like, melody is king over everything, and if you can combine that with a great lyric, then you have a great song. But yeah, for me, music, like the sonic aspects of music, is why I listen to it. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right. Like I remember watching an interview about when they were making Nevermind by Nirvana, and obviously in the song Come As You Are, he's not saying memory, which is the actual word. He's saying memoria, because that's the melody, and it just works better with the chord progression.
Yeah.
So it's just like that.
Yeah.
And it also seems like you have loads of fun as well with the music videos that you make, that they're all like colorful and energetic and just fun.
Yeah.
Like you don't take yourselves too seriously, it seems like.
Yeah.
What are those shoots like for you? Like, what was it like making those videos?
A lot of fun, long days, but a lot of fun. Yeah, we just it's funny actually, because those videos took a long time. Like again, like we were literally in LA for a month just doing videos nonstop. We did like, I think we ended up having like 14 videos made for the EPs. Like, so we had the actual song, the music video, the lyric videos, and all the acoustic videos. So
Right.
we did a lot in a month. It was really insane, and we learned a lot. It's really funny how this stuff goes, because it seems like the videos that we spend the least amount of money on and the least amount of time on are the ones that do the best.
Yeah.
By the longest shot. It's crazy how that happens, but it's the same with content and TikTok, because I know you make content too.
Yeah.
Have you found that to be true for you as well?
Yeah, sometimes I'll do like 10, 15 shots. I have to compile them together into like a certain like narrative or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is easily my best video. Like I've put so much effort into it. It's so funny or whatever it is. And then, I mean, it does okay, but it's like not as well as I'd hoped. And sometimes I'll spend 5 seconds on a video. It just like shoots off. Like,
that's me, dude. Like it's the same thing with me. I literally like the videos, the TikTok videos. I learned a lesson early on. I was like walking around the house one day, and I was like, I don't know why I think this would be funny, but like I was like, I know like kids in like metalcore and like when we were growing up and we were like listening to like there's like like punk goes pop, like we're
Hmm.
like people just decided to like scream lyrics to songs that just don't need screaming. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Yeah.
so I was like, what if I did like that song "This Is How We Do It"? I was like I had like a hook that said like screamo kids listening to normal music, and I just like it was a 7-second video and I did it, and that was the first video that got me any followers on TikTok, and it ended up doing like 300,000 views, and I was like, this is ridiculous because every video I've done up until this point I like spent hours on like
Yeah.
trying to get like it perfect, and then it's always the ones where you're just like thinking, oh, that might be funny, and you film it in 5 seconds that just pop off. And
Yeah.
so the same ended up being true with our videos. Our number one performing video was the song that streamed the least on our EP, which is so obvious. And we love all the songs, but that video, like it started out as a TikTok idea. Funny enough, like I was like, why don't we just do something literal? Like let's like take the lyrics of the song and just like make a literal version of it. So like it's like I can't even think of the first lyric, but the one afterwards is like clean the blood off your hands. So we're like in the video we're like cleaning a bunch of blood off my hands, and like it does like all the literal stuff. And
Yeah.
so it started off as a TikTok idea that Ross was like, that's dope, let's do that as a video, because we couldn't think of anything else for the video. So we just did that in front of a green screen and called it a day. And that video outperformed all the other ones, like by the longest shot. And we spent the least amount of time on it. We had so much fun. We had fun with all the videos, but like it was just one of those days where we were just like messing around all day, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, and then we had like other videos where we like spent like a full day. We bought a bunch of props for it. We like painted rooms for it. We did all this stuff. And the video did good and it looked amazing and I'm proud of it. But the other one outperformed it. So it's like kind of a learning experience in all that. So we spent a lot of time on these videos and I'm really proud of all of them, for sure. But then like we learned from that, and for the EP that we recorded after this one, all the videos took way less time. Like we were just like, let's just like do it this way,
Yeah.
call it, and they still look great.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it's so funny. Music videos are so like I'm not a big music video guy. I don't watch them. I'm not the biggest fan of making them, but we made it fun, and I think it really shows when you watch
Yeah.
the videos.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So if anyone checking this out, you're gonna make content. Sometimes just keep it simple. That's the
Yeah.
lesson here. Yeah.
Just don't overthink it. Like
Yeah.
if you think of something and you're like, oh, that might be cool, just throw it out there. Because like, what's the
Yeah.
worst that can happen? Like, if nobody watches it, like, it doesn't affect you. It's like,
Yeah.
but if a lot of people watch it, then that could be the start of something. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So like, yeah, I always say like, don't overthink it. Just do it and
Yeah.
like see what happens. You know?
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. I think what your videos help push as well, and also like in your photos, just your imagery, is that you kind of have these like 90s, 2000s kind of nostalgia like
Mhm.
appearance going on. And then you've got like this one promo shot as well where you two are sat on a couch and then there's posters over the walls of like Pokemon and Space Jam and Fresh Prince of
Yeah.
Bel-Air. Do you kind of resonate with nostalgia and pop culture from those times?
I do. I mean, obviously more so when I was growing up. Ross is still very much into a lot of that stuff, but yeah, I mean, those years were just so transformative for all of us, you know? Like, I was a big fan of like early 2000s pop rock. We actually just released a cover of Pieces of Me by Ashlee Simpson,
Oh yeah.
which is like one of my favorite songs of all time. Like, I love that song. So like the music back then specifically for me was a big driver in like how I approach things, and like Avril Lavigne and like all this stuff. Like some of my favorite songs came from that era. My first show ever that I ever went to, I was like 8 years old. I went to see the Backstreet Boys. So
Wow.
like, yeah, it's just like those little things that like really like changed my life. So yeah, music specifically, I was really big into Pokemon growing up. Not so much now, but like I do still listen to those songs. So yeah, that ended up being like we have that like a sound that is kind of reminiscent of that, but like still sounds 2024 in production and stuff like that. So we just wanted to lean into that. And like the other thing too is like I think I mentioned earlier that Ross filmed everything that we did here at my house when he came. He actually the first day ordered a Sony Handycam. It smelled like someone's pool, dude. It smelled, you know, like that,
Why?
like chlorine, like I think of like when I'm thinking of this, like I just think of like when I was a kid and I'd like my friends would have a pool and I'd like go in their garage, and like the garage would smell like a pool because they'd have like all the chemicals and stuff.
Yeah.
So like that camera was just sitting in someone's garage for like who knows how long, and it just smelled like pool chemicals. So like like that brought me back to being a kid in a really weird way. Like, but like the look of it and the feel of it, like we use it a lot for our vlogs and stuff like that. That was a big driver in like, you know, how we like want to do content and how we want our stuff to look and feel, and like we want people to like kind of have that association with it. So we're big on like the 90s, I guess, and early 2000s like culture, and like that's what we want to like have our stuff kind of look like and feel like, you know.
Yeah. Well, you said you used to be into Pokemon. Did you play the original games, the Blue and Red?
Oh yeah, I played Blue. I think Red was the first one that I had, but I played Blue and Red and Yellow, and I actually grew up like in like Pokemon, like trading like the card leagues.
Oh yeah,
like I'd go like play like competitively as a kid and stuff like that. Also Yu-Gi-Oh! I did that a lot when I was younger. But yeah, I was real big into Pokemon, Digimon, all that stuff. Yeah, definitely growing up. But yeah, man, those games were so much fun. I remember having like the little like Game Boy Color with the light attached to it. You know what I'm talking
Oh
about?
yeah, I had one of them as well. Yeah.
With the coil, and it would just like, because the screens didn't light up back then, so you'd be like in your room just like, you know, playing your games. Dude, it's so crazy to think about.
What was your choice of starter Pokemon?
I played the game a couple times. I can't remember if it was Charmander first
Yeah.
or Squirtle. It was one of those two. I wasn't too big on like Bulbasaur but like I like the fire and water starters a lot. So those were like my go-tos. I think Charmander might have been my first one.
Yeah, I was always fire. That's what I chose. So
yeah, respect, dude.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you mentioned putting out recently that Ashlee Simpson cover. Why did you cover that song in particular? Like, what was it like putting your spin on it?
It was just one of those. Well, yeah. So we had a playlist of songs. Ross put together a bunch of songs that he liked, and I went through and I was like thinking about songs that I'd gone back and listened to. And like for me specifically, it was like, what songs from then over the year like do I still listen to? Like I find again and I go, oh my god, that song! Like I love that song, and I listen to it again. And for me, that was one of those songs. So every time I heard it, it was just that opening chord progression and like the on a Monday and like all like that stuff. Just like it just hits me every time I hear it. I'm just like, man, this song is just so good. There's just something about the bounce and like the feel and everything that I just like I thought was so cool. And so that was one of the songs that I had in mind. And so for these covers that we have, like we decided moving forward that it was going to be like Ross is going to pick a song and I'm going to pick a song. And that's how we're going to have like a couple of covers for every release. So that's kind of how we did it. And that ended up being the song that I was like, dude, I want to do this song. This is the one, like let me have this, you know? And he was like, I'm down. I'm super down. So that's kind of how that happened. And yeah, I'm so stoked we did that, dude. Like, I don't know. I'm like, that's like one of the cooler things I feel like I've done in music. Like I just like, it was like a cool thing for me to be able to do, you know?
Yeah. How long did it take you to do the video? Because obviously you're going in like different spots, aren't you? I'm walking towards the camera. So you must have like, had to travel to all these different locations and just
we did. It did take a little bit. We it took a couple of days. We started doing it like early in the music video trip, so like last November. We did like a day where we like went and shot, I think maybe it might have been on the beach, maybe Venice Beach or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but we did some shots over there, and then we had another day later in the trip where we like ran around Hollywood and, you know, a couple other places in LA and like did the same thing. But yeah, that's what we did, was we just like found a bunch of different locations and just like walked and like it's funny because there was a lot of times where we were like in the sun, and like Ross is always the butt of the joke. So like I was like, it'd be really funny if we were like in a spot where like it's really sunny and it's obvious that it's really sunny, but he had sunglasses on the whole time, but like for those shots, I'm gonna need your sunglasses. So like I take the sunglasses, and in the background he's just like squinting, like you can't see.
Yeah.
And so like there's like little moments in that video where like you'll notice it, but it's like very subtle, you know.
Right.
It's just like, yeah, you just like you see it when you see it, and you're like, that's goofy, you know.
Yeah. Everyone's gonna look out for that now.
Yeah, well, the other thing, dude, like we this is another really funny like thing that I don't know if we've talked about before, but I'm just gonna talk about it because it's awesome. And not a lot of people, surprisingly, not a lot of people have like said anything to us about it. We did an acoustic or a piano video for our song Achilles Heel, and we hired this like amazing pianist named Dave to like do the piano for it. And we like called him to be in the music video for it because he like is insane, just a crazy piano player. He looks really cool and all that stuff. And he was like, I can't make it. I can't be in the video. So we ended up having him in the Forever piano video, but he was like, I can't make it. So like we were just like, Ross was like, I think I can fake it. so like, well, like, so he bought like a Casio keyboard, and in the video he's just like playing, and it like looks pretty convincing at first, but like I had the idea of like, well, dude, why don't you just like stop playing every once in a while and like look at your phone, or like eat candy, or like do some weird shit, you know what I mean? So you'll see like I'm like all serious, and like you'll see him like playing piano, and then like just like look at, like pick up his phone, like look at it, and he's like not playing, and then he'll like put it back in his pocket, and he'll like stretch and like do this, and like he'll start playing again. So like the whole video he's just doing that kind of stuff, and like no one's really, a couple people have said stuff to us, but like it's been like a couple, you know. This video has like has a lot of views, and yeah, at the end too, like he like tripped over the keyboard and like fell, and that's how we end the video. I thought that was part of the joke, but it wasn't. He like completely ate shit.
Oh, he did accidentally, yeah.
Completely. And I tried to like keep it together, but I couldn't. So we were like, that has to stay in the video, because like I was like, dude, I was like, it's crazy that you fell on purpose, dude. He's like, dude, it wasn't on purpose. Like, yeah. So Ross is the butt of the joke always. It's a lot of fun.
He took one for the team on that one. Yeah.
He did, really did. Yeah.
Yeah. So so there's more covers and like more Internet Friends original music on the way then soon?
Yeah. We like basically did all these songs from the EP. We have all these like, you know, laid out, and like by the time we had those laid out, and like right when we started releasing the music, we were back in the studio for EP2. So we have another EP that we're gonna start kind of working off of after this cycle's done. So we have like music for like the foreseeable future. Like we are not stopping anytime soon. So we're just like, we're gonna keep the content and the music rolling. So exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did the second EP with Courtney Ballard.
Okay.
So yeah.
Awesome. So plenty for people to look forward to then. Nothing's gonna stop anytime soon.
So much stuff, dude. Yeah.
Well, people might also know, like, obviously you've been involved in other projects, and you're in another project called Foxera, but that seems like it's kind of been a bit quiet recently. Do you know what the situation is with that? Is that just kind of hiatus, or?
Yeah, we're actually, so the last time I was in LA with Ross, actually, the last, like, I actually stayed a couple extra days, and we did a couple of songs with Foxera.
Okay.
So we're working on music. It's just one of those projects where, like, we put music out the first year. It was 2021 when we put music out, and then we played some shows at the end of the year, and then we had to really financially like get ourselves back up after all that. Like, you know, we invested a lot into it, and the other end of that too is that the band just takes longer to write songs. Mm-hmm. It's like the creative process is really different for us. And so it's kind of taken us a while to get back in the groove of like getting things together, and like the band's we're still around, we're still talking, we're still doing all this stuff, but we're just taking time to get back in the swing of things. So
Yeah.
the new stuff is really dope though. It sounds awesome. It's like the old songs that we did had existed well before I was in the band, and so this new stuff is like the first stuff that we have where like I was in the picture from start to finish, basically.
Right. Okay.
Which is really cool. So yeah, we're definitely finishing some stuff up. I have to do vocals for one more song, but we have like 3 that we did that we're like gonna try to wrap up as soon as we can. And yeah, so new Foxera is 100% coming. It's just in the works. So yeah. You
got to wait. Like, patience is a virtue.
It is. It's tough on me too. I'm so impatient with things too. Sometimes I'm just like, I just want to get it going. You know what I mean? But yeah. We've taken some time, off to like. So we really need to make sure like when we come back, it's like something special. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at.
Awesome. And you also made another big announcement a few days ago. A big surprise for fans. Myka Relocate.
Yeah.
Kind of like a reunion. You're doing 2 shows in LA at the start of next year. You're playing your albums Lies to Light the Way and The Young Souls in Full on 2 respective different dates. How did that reunion of and doing these shows come about? How does that all happen?
It's another crazy thing, and it's actually kind of related to Internet Friends in a funny way. So, over the years, a lot of people have asked me like, you guys getting the band back together? Like, what's going on? Because we like like when I joined Foxera, and I guess it might have been the end of 2020 when I did like a live stream, and I was like, I gotta say, like, we're just like not doing anything anymore. So like we kind of like called it quits there, but like we've always remained friends and everything. Like those are my best friends. They kind of gave me everything that I have in music. Like, if I didn't end up being in that band, I would probably not be here. I mean, I don't like, there's no way I'd be like doing the same thing. Like, it's just like, like those guys believed in me and put me on, and I got to tour the world and do some crazy stuff with them, and gave me a fan base. Like, so like those guys are like just my best friends always. But yeah, it was just one of those things where like we called it off, and I never really had closure with the ending of that band. Everybody else kind of like moved on and started to do different things. Austin, our lead guitarist and songwriter, still makes music, but a lot of the other guys were like doing their own thing. But like I was still like kind of all in on the band for a while until the end. And I've been doing music since. So like, yeah, it's just one of those things where like I was always open to the idea of doing more stuff, but I just didn't know if it was going to happen. It was really hard to like, I think, get everybody together to make that work. And like, there were a couple times where we had like some opportunities to play some shows or whatever, and we talked about it, and it just like didn't happen. And so this time around, however, I think it was one of those things where like in the process of me posting on the internet, and like I started posting clips of me like singing Myka songs or like whatever, and that's kind of how I built my following on there. And like we kind of noticed that like, man, it kind of almost feels like there's more of a fan base for the band now that we're over with than when we were like active.
Right. Okay.
And I think it inspired everybody. Like, everybody was kind of like, oh, like, damn, this is a really cool thing, and like, yeah. So we got hit up by a promoter at the Whiskey in LA, on the Internet Friends page. This guy, Anthony, was trying to book us. He was like, I'd be interested to book Internet Friends. Like, like it'd be cool to make it happen. And I like checked old messages, and I saw that he was like trying to like a while back was like trying to like do some like reunion stuff with Myka.
Right. Okay.
And I was like, that's really interesting. So like I started talking to him, and he was like, I'd love to get Myka up here, but I'd also love to get Internet Friends booked, all this stuff. And so I was like, well, Internet Friends, we're not really ready to play shows at the moment. So like, but I was like, I mean, I can ask the guys, but I can't guarantee that we can like make it happen, because I was like, I don't really know how this will work out. But I went to the guys, and I was like, there's this opportunity for us to do this, and they were like, yeah, let's do it. And so I was like, holy crap. So I went back and we started like kind of negotiating and like trying to figure out a way to like get us up there and stuff. And we decided to do both the albums and do two shows rather than one. And I'm so excited, man. I can't even like explain to you how like stoked I am that we're like gonna do it. Like it's just like cool.
Yeah.
You know? Like, yeah, we haven't played shows in over 7 years, and it's just like I never thought the day would come that like we would like maybe do it again. So yeah, it's just like it's special. It feels really special.
Yeah. Yeah. Like people are getting so like stoked on it, man. Like, and you got to
Yeah.
get learning those songs.
I know. I
Yeah.
know. It's like it's so daunting. Like I haven't sang that stuff in a long time. And I did not make my job easy back then, dude. Like those songs are so hard to sing.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be great, and you know, I think that we're gonna put time into these shows. So like I think that we're gonna come out swinging. I think it's gonna be like a really cool experience for everybody that's gonna make it out there. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Are there some songs on those albums then that you've never played live before that you're going to have to do for the first time now, or do you think you've played them all?
Yeah, we've talked about this, and I think we actually there might be like one or two that we haven't, but I think we've played almost every song.
Right.
So like the first record, we did an album release show back in 2013 that we played every song off of. So like we've definitely done that. But the second record, there might be like one. I can't even remember which one. There were like actually a couple songs that I don't remember playing that people were like, "Oh no, we played that." So I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's good." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So for the most part, like this is like it's not 100% like new to us, but you know, again, we haven't played the songs in 7 years, so it's
Yeah. Yeah.
you have to like rebuild that muscle memory and like that feeling again to like get
Definitely.
it to be comfortable. But we're not starting from zero,
Yeah.
so that's cool. You know?
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you looking forward to playing any album more than the other? Like, do you have a preference on either of them, or do you love them both?
Man, I don't know. I do love them both. I love them both for sure. I think I'll always be very thankful for the first record because that record gave us so many opportunities. And we toured that one a lot harder than the Young Souls. But I think you can hear the evolution of the band in the second record. And so, you know, like, yeah, I think I'm equally excited to play both but for different reasons.
Yeah.
I guess.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just because obviously the fans are going to want to know, for now, is it just those two shows, or is it going to be something more, or is it not? Like, is it up in the air at the moment?
At the moment, it's just those two shows. So
Right.
that's kind of where we're at. I guess we're gonna see how it goes and kind of go from there. But
Mhm.
we don't have like plans to do music or anything. We're just like playing these shows because people have been asking for it, and I think it would be like a really good opportunity for us as people, as individuals, as friends to like, you know, I think it would be really good for us mentally
Yeah.
to get back up there and like because we didn't really have a chance to like the last time we played shows we just like played it and it was just like that was it, you know.
Right. Yeah.
And so now as more of a reunion than anything, the mindset's a little different.
Right.
So that's kind of where my head's at the moment.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you said earlier, didn't you? Like, you didn't really get full closure on the band. So if it does happen to be like these two shows are the last thing that you do, at least that's kind of like a good way to like kind of celebrate what the band was, if that is
Yeah.
the final chapter. So
That's honestly how I'm looking at it. And if it evolves into something else, that's really cool. But for me, it's more so like I just want to do it for that reason specifically. I think it would be really good for me because I've always kind of held on to that.
yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it'll be awesome either way, man. I'm kind of jealous it's not going to obviously be anywhere near me, but there you go.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool for sure. I'm excited to share that moment with you know everybody, and you know who knows, maybe it'll end up on the internet. We don't have any plans at the moment for that, but it's not impossible. So
Yeah.
you know that could open up a world of you know possibility for people. So
Yeah.
I'll definitely if that does happen, I'll let you know for sure.
Awesome. Yeah. Please do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's all very exciting, man. Like, you've got so much on the cards, and yeah. What else have you got planned for 2024? I think we've covered pretty much everything, but is there anything else?
Man, just internet friends, just releasing more music. We're like, once again, we're like not stopping. Me and Ross at some point are going to get back together in person and do some more stuff. But for the time being, that's it. I'm focused on getting these Foxera songs done. And really this year, yeah, it's mostly about all that. And then getting myself in a good position for these Myka shows coming up. Like just making sure everything is like in line. The live show is all good. We're going to start practicing for that pretty soon. So it's a year full of music, man. Yeah. I'm busier than I've ever been. And I'm absolutely not complaining about it. It feels really good. So that's where we're at.
Yeah. I'm stoked for you, dude. Yeah.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah. Well, yeah, thank you very much for taking time to speak with me and, go through all that. And, just sounds like so much is on the horizon for you. So, yeah, before I let you go and enjoy the rest of your day, any final words, anything you want to say or plug? Floor's yours.
Well, go jam Pieces of Me. I don't know why I did that.
One, two.
Go jam Pieces of Me. Let me know what you think, because I'm very proud of it. Just keep an eye out for music, and I hope to see y'all in LA in January for these Myka shows coming up. But otherwise, dude, I'm really appreciative that you had me on to like talk about all this stuff, man. I had a great time.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm glad to have you on. I've taken like an hour of your time, so I really appreciate it, especially in the sweltering heat. So
yeah. Right. I haven't. You know what, dude? We had such a good conversation. I didn't even really notice it until you said it just now. Yeah. So I'm feeling good. I hope you're feeling okay too.
I'm all good, man. All good. I'm surviving. I'm all good. So
yeah.
I'll let you go, dude. Thanks again. Take care of yourself. Speak soon.
Yeah, you too. Later, bro.
Bye. And that's it. Thanks so much for tuning in to It's Not a Phase. If you enjoyed this episode, then don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Leave a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. Follow the podcast on social media, and maybe even join the Patreon or grab some merch from the store. You can find everything that you need at itsnotaphase.co.uk. That's itsnotaphase.co.uk. Thanks again. Hopefully catch you on the next one. And remember, it's not a phase, it's a lifestyle.